You're watching The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales. Streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
2, 1.
What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Chuck here on the EXP. We've got another great episode of Triple T. So excited to hang out with you guys, as always. Yeah, man. Oh, I was just looking at chats, but there's nothing new for me, so... but yeah, we have a freaking awesome show again today. I've got Barbara Dillon here from Fanbase Press. They've got their first big Kickstarter happening for the Eisner-nominated Ripple Effect, which to me looks really awesome. So, yeah, I'm kind of, I almost don't want to hold out that much longer because really it's just less interview and I'm not interested in that. So, you know what? Why don't we get right to it? I will see you guys right after this.
You make this rather snappy, won't you? I have some very heavy thinking to do before 10 o'clock.
Ms. Barbara Dillon, how are we doing today?
Hi, Chuck. I'm great. How are you?
I'm really good. Thank you for asking. So you were from Fanbase Press. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and about Fanbase Press?
Absolutely. It is a mouthful. So thank you for for giving it a try. I am Barbara Dillon. I am the co-founder and editor-in-chief of Fanbase Press. We are an award-winning comic book publisher and media outlet. Next year will be our 15th year doing this, which is just crazy.
Ooh.
Been that long, yes. But originally I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and have been out in LA for, gosh, probably the better part of 20 years now. And I love being part of the comics community. It's been my absolute favorite thing about coming to LA.
Oh, I love hearing that. And so you and I spoke earlier because this book, Ripple Effect, it was nominated for an Eisner, but you guys have also been nominated for a GLAAD Award?
Yes, so we've been super fortunate throughout the years. In 2018, we received our first Eisner nomination for a series called Quince, which I will show you here, Quince, which was about a young woman who gets superpowers on her quinceañera, but only for the year she's 15. We got, I think it was in 2021, our second Eisner nom for being a comics journalism outlet. So Fanbase Press itself was nominated.
Ooh.
And then, last year was our third nomination for Ripple Effects, which was for the Best Digital Comic category. And this year we were super fortunate, as you mentioned, we were actually the winner of the GLAAD Media Award for graphic novels this year for our graphic novel called Four Color Heroes by Richard Fairbanks. So, yeah.
Oh, and Richard's such a great talent, too.
Absolutely. He's fantastic.
Yeah, he really is. No, that's amazing. It's so neat to hear about all that kind of stuff. Like a GLAAD Award, that's not necessarily normal in comics, you know? Like,
yeah, we were so shocked. We learned about it at something like 12:30 at night because the award ceremony itself goes well into the evening, and they cover so many amazing categories across various forms of pop culture, not just comics, very, very much more focused on movies, TV, that sort of thing. So to be not only nominated, but to receive the award in the graphic novel category really just blew us away. We were truly honored.
yeah, of course. Absolutely. I mean, even when I saw that, I was just like, that's really impressive. That's amazing. So good for you guys. So when we're talking about Fanbase Press, before we get directly to Ripple Effect, when we're talking about Fanbase Press, do you guys have like a specific like motto or aim?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So we really try, first and foremost, we are about creating a safe and welcoming community for all of geekdom. So we are not just about comics, we're about anything that you are a fan of. And that can be movies, TV, books, gaming, theater. Everyone is a fan of something. And so we want to celebrate that. And so even the books that we are not able to publish ourselves, because we're a boutique company, it's really just my husband and I that are doing the publishing side of things, we still very much want to give a platform and provide a voice to the so many talented creators out there who have an amazing story to tell. So we do daily reviews, interviews, we have a whole podcast network, we do a lot of crowdfunding support to lift up as many voices as we can.
Cool. That's amazing. And yeah, when I looked at over your stuff, I thought, wow, yeah, these guys are definitely like, you hear about diversity being more important for companies, but that seems to be a primary thing for you guys,
Yeah,
which I
absolutely.
think is excellent.
Yeah, it's very important for us all throughout the year. We did a panel recently about queer comics and queer comics creators, and we called it more than just a month because that's the thing. Diversity is not something to be celebrated just once a year.
Yeah.
It is something to appreciate all throughout the year, to celebrate all throughout the year. And there's so many different forms of diversity, of equity, of inclusion that we
Yeah.
should all be honoring. And so that is very much something that we're all about at Fanbase Press.
I mean, how terrible would it be if we only got queer comics in July or black African American comics in February? Like that would stink. So I'm so glad that that's something we can see year round.
Absolutely, agreed.
So the ripple effect. Why don't you tell us all about that?
Sure, absolutely. So, for those who may be unfamiliar, this was a series that initially came out in 2022. It was created and written by Jordan Hart. It was illustrated by Bruno Chirulu, and it explores life as a superhero with an invisible illness. So, imagine if Superman were invulnerable to physical harm, except he had type 1 diabetes. So, it's his own body that is his kryptonite in a way. So, this is very much, an exhilarating, a fun superhero story. It just also happens to include, what a day to day life is like for an individual who has an invisible illness like type 1 diabetes. And then, in addition to that, after every issue, we had an essay by a different individual with an invisible illness or disability, everything
Oh,
from diabetes to paranoid schizophrenia, MS, thrombophilia, relating their lived experience to what happens in the series.
that's awesome. We have so many people in the comments right now. Eddie, what's going on? Make two. So good to see you, man. We got Kenrick in there. How you doing? Kenrick says Fanbase Press crowdfunding Fridays is a great service they do for the independent community. Agree completely. Absolutely.
Thank
And
you.
no, really, as a fellow creator, I think what you guys are doing is amazing. I love that. I know there's been several different companies where anytime they step up and do something for the overall community, I feel like it really needs to be shouted out by all of us. I mean, we appreciate what you're doing for us, but I think it's also important that we show that, you know?
Well, that's very kind of you. We're happy to be doing it, and I think that especially independent voices need that extra help. They need
Yeah.
that spotlight and that opportunity to shine because there are so many barriers out there for creators these days that if we can help to remove some of those barriers and really shine a spotlight, then we're happy to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. And Leonard said, kudos to any company that embraces diversity. Absolutely, buddy. Absolutely. Um, JD asked, so I see on the Fanbase Press website that you are director of Jedi recruitment. How's that going?
Oh, so I wear many hats at the company. One of them is director of Jedi recruitment. Funny enough, it's so when we started the company, and every time we would onboard a new staff member, we let them choose what their fun title for the company was. And I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so for me, it was a no-brainer of Jedi recruitment. It's going okay, the actual recruitment. We have some bad eggs that make their way through every now and then, but I think that's part of the process.
I feel you there completely. Yeah. Yeah. Just if you see anyone named Anakin, do not let them in. It will not be good for recruitment. In the long run, it is a bad idea. I'm just letting you
That's
know from
that's a
personal experience.
fair
So, ripple effect. I love that idea of invisible diseases, and that's something that we find it doesn't get enough conversation. Was there something personal for you that really struck you when that came to you, or was that more
Yeah,
just interesting?
absolutely. So Jordan Hart, the creator, came to us, and he had been a friend for many years in the comic book industry, a very talented writer. And he came to us at an event and said, I have this story that is very personal to me. I've had it with me for about 10 years because he himself has an invisible illness called thrombophilia, which is an incurable blood clotting disease. And he said, I initially wrote this to be a character with thrombophilia, but it was just too close to me. It was too hard to be able to share that story. So I talked to my best friend who has had type 1 diabetes lifelong and rewrote the story with that in mind. So, but when we read the treatment, we were hooked immediately. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that's the big thing about the stories that we put out is that there's not only heart behind them, but that there's whether it be a message that you take away or at least the initiation of a conversation that you can have.
Hmm.
We just really want to leave you thinking about things. We don't want to beat you over the head with any sort of message, but we'd like for our stories to get you to think about things and to consider things that maybe you hadn't previously.
Yeah. And one of our guests here was asking, are you a creator as well, or are you mostly a publisher?
That's a great question. On the artistic side of things, you wouldn't even want to see my stick figures. They're abysmal, just terrible. But I'm actually the editor on all of the books. So I have not had a hand in writing any of our books, but I do edit. So I collaborate with all of our creators on their work.
Nice.
Yeah,
And are you editor for all of the books that come out of Fanbase?
I am. Yes,
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, that's a lot of work. Like as a fellow editor, that's a lot.
it is.
So
Yes,
good
but I
for
love it.
you. Good for you.
Thank you.
Is there something about editing that you enjoy the most?
That's a really great question. I think it is simply one of the big questions that we start with every creator asking is, what is your vision of this? What is your ideal for
Yeah.
seeing this brought to life in your head? And so I think for me, it's simply the idea of helping creative people to do what they love. And if I can help you achieve that vision, even if it's like improved upon, if it's something that's bringing you outside of yourself, because that creative process can be a very internal process sometimes. You may have an idea in mind, but maybe other people can help you not only get to the finish line but make it the best that it can be. And so I think that's what I love. I love helping people not only to do what they love but to make it as best as humanly possible.
I agree. I absolutely love that part of it when you talk to someone and like for an editor, the most important question is always why. In any at any moment, it's why. And I think when you're able to ask someone early on, why are you making this? Why is this happening? And that answer can be the make or break. I mean, it really does. It tells you exactly why this is so important, and it allows you to really kind of get to the meat of what they're doing, which is, I think, wonderful.
Absolutely. Agreed. 100%.
Yeah. And JD said, so you and Chuck both know the secret comic editor handshake. I'm sure we do, but I can't reveal that to you. I don't. You'd have to ask Barbara and see if she would, but I'm not willing to.
It's like a magician. We can't reveal the secret. We can't.
Exactly. I appreciate you. Kenrick says, do people submit work to Fanbase for publishing, or do you guys tend to reach out?
That's a great question. So we have been super fortunate over the years. We have published all submissions. We actually started the first two books that we did were in-house. My husband wrote them, but everything since then has been submitted to us. So we've been really, really fortunate in that regard, and we're always accepting submissions. We don't necessarily look for any one particular age demographic or genre. We're open to everything because we really try to build a catalog that is complementary and that is accessible to all different readers.
Being a smaller company, how important are conventions for you guys?
Very important. So we are very active in the Southwest in terms of conventions. We have, as of this year, expanded beyond only comic conventions into the library market. So this was our first year doing, the American Library Association show, and we're going to be doing that again next year and doing more shows in the library space next year. So, but very important. And not only are we exhibiting at shows like San Diego Comic-Con, WonderCon, etc. But we do a lot of panel programming as well, because if we can help to educate folks about various topics, then we love that opportunity to do so.
I think that's really smart. And I love the idea of you guys connecting with library shows because, of course, it's the same distributors who are now distributing comics are also distributing novels. So really good for us to finally be able to get graphic novels in there with. I mean, I went to a library. A friend of mine, she's a librarian just outside of Chicago, and we went there, and they had such a huge graphic novel section, and there was even a lot of great indie stuff and whatnot, Image, Dark Horse, everything. And I was like, you know what? This is cool. This is exactly how it should be. So I love that you're doing that. I think that's really smart.
Thank you. Yeah, it's an absolutely growing market. There are so many libraries that are accepting of and have, like you said, fantastic catalogs of
Yeah.
comics and graphic novels. And honestly, the librarians right now are truly doing heroic work. They are on the front lines of all of the censorship and attacks for book bans and
Yeah.
challenges. So the work that they're doing to really support and defend comics and comics creators is truly remarkable.
As far as banning and whatnot, have you guys had to deal with any of that kind of stuff yet? Or
We have not, thankfully. We've been really fortunate, and we do try to get the books out as much as possible. Our entire catalog is not only available in print but digitally as well. And so we're, if you have a library card and your library uses Hoopla, then you can access our entire catalog through Hoopla with your library card. We're also on Comics Plus, which is another library vendor digitally. So we try to, reach everyone as much as possible.
yeah, that's amazing. That's really awesome to hear. Wow, we've already we're like 15 minutes in. We've already talked about an awful lot. I'm like running out of questions. You're doing this really well. What got you started in comics? Like where did your interest peak as far as comics are concerned?
That's a really great question. So when I was very little, I grew up at my parents' like mom and pop convenience store. We had the old spinner rack, but it really had a very limited number of comics on it. We had like Archie, a handful of X-Men comics, and Barbie comics, if you can imagine. And I very much grew up, honestly, watching X-Men, the animated series. I feel like
Yeah.
that was kind of my huge introduction into the comic book world. But it wasn't until college when I met my now husband, he introduced me to Preacher first. That was like my big first foray into comics. And he was like, if you like this, we'll keep going, but let's see how you like this.
You started to get weird. Good for you.
So after that, it was, of course, like Watchmen. We went to
Yeah.
the mainstays. But yeah, I think Preacher really it opened up to me the fact that there are so many different genres and so many different targeted audiences for comics. Because I really had no idea. I just thought it was the capes and cowls and that's it.
Yeah.
So to learn that there was such a breadth of content out there was really exciting for me.
I love that. I love it. So, JD asks, sorry I'm late. Does Fanbase do monthly single issues, print and digital?
That's a really great question. So, when we do a new series, we will do, if it's a series, we'll actually do month to month releases for each issue, and we'll do those digitally, and then we'll collect them into a collected trade paperback. So, we will always do a printed edition, but generally speaking, we refrain from doing floppies just because, as an independent publisher, it's a bit cost prohibitive to do floppies. So, we really wait to do the actual physical release until the trade.
And I totally feel that. I think you're very much. I mean, I would love to be able to keep doing floppies, but yeah, more and more I'm seeing that the cost per unit is just way too high, and it'll get to the point where you're talking about trying to sell a floppy for $10.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
that's so much to ask.
It's tough. It's tough. And I know that there's a psychology to it as well, because if you are at a convention, like we were talking about earlier, folks are understandably a little trepidatious, maybe, or nervous about buying a single issue from an independent creator or publisher, because the thought might be, am I ever going to see you again? Where am I going to find the next issue? So for
Will
that
there
reason,
be another issue?
will there be another issue?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of barriers to creating comics, so we really try to keep that in mind and just do the collected editions in print.
I think that's really smart. Leonard asks, what are your thoughts on the use of public domain characters being modernized in the comic genre?
Oh, I think it's fantastic. I've seen a lot of really great work in that regard. I'm trying to think. I even know that. Oh gosh, who was it? I think it's. Oh my gosh, Matt, why am I forgetting their names? There's a Kickstarter either going right now or coming up for Dracula that is just doing something really interesting. I'm going to try to find it when when you ask me the next question. I'm going to try to find it.
Okay.
Kelly Jones, I want to say, is the artist on the book. Yeah, they're doing fantastic work with Dracula. I feel like Dracula is a really popular character right now to be tackling, and many different interpretations of it. But what they're doing is, it's going to kill me the last name of the other creator. They're doing like a darker, more sinister take on Dracula. So they're doing like really the interpretation less of like sexy, fancy, vampire, and more of like, who was this awful human being that became this villain. So it's really, really interesting what they're doing. But yes, I'm fully supportive of that. And I think that it's a wonderful opportunity for creators. It's so hard to find an audience, to get recognized. So if you can in some way benefit from a more well-known character that is in the public domain, put your own spin on it, then more power to you. Absolutely.
I totally feel that. Being based out of LA, how important is it for you guys to try to break comics into TVs and movie and other medium, or is your main push just getting comics out there on shelves?
That's a great question. And first, I just remembered it's Matt Wagner and Kelly Jones.
I thought it might have been. I wish I'd said that. Dang. Okay.
It would kill me. That's a good question. So, interestingly, when we first came out to Los Angeles, I worked in TV and film for at least 3 years. So, I worked with. I was very fortunate. I certainly don't regret it, but I worked with a lot of the leading comedic talent in talent management and production. So, like the Jim Carrey, Will Ferrell, Judd Apatow.
Oh, wow.
But I will be honest that I got really jaded from working in the industry. And I left after a period of time because I knew so many creative people. I have an older brother who is an actor. I grew up backstage in the theater. My husband is an actor. Everyone I know is in the comic industry as a writer and artist. And I saw all these people and I thought, why aren't they getting the opportunity to shine? It is such a business. It's such an industry. And there are talented people that have a voice to share and deserve to do so. And that's really honestly where Fanbase Press came from, is wanting to create something, create a community, and create a publishing company that supported and provided that opportunity for other people. So we definitely do, once the book is out there, we will utilize our connections to get the book in front of people in case it can have legs in other, mediums, whether it be movies, TV, video games, etc. But at the end of the day, for us, the most important thing is the comic itself. That's the biggest thing for us.
I love that. And I love already I'm seeing that you guys are very much trying to bring a positive spin to a lot of things, especially through your, Fanbase Press, as far as talking about other independents and whatnot, which I absolutely love. So you had said that you were a little jaded by especially the TV and comedy side of things, which is difficult. Were there some shining lights, some positive things that you would like to, because I find a lot of people who come out of TV and movies, they come and they're fairly jaded. So is there something positive that came out of that, positive that you can go, there was a lot of trouble stuff, but that was really good?
Absolutely. And you know what? I'll come down to two things. One, the skills that I learned.
Mhm.
It's a very rigorous job. It was essentially my life was Entourage. If you've ever watched Entourage, that was and probably too scary to admit my life very much. But so I did learn a lot of skills, which I'm very grateful for that opportunity. But I think the biggest thing that I came away with is the people. There are some diamonds in the rough that I am still friends with to this day that are now publishing in the comic book industry. So they have moved on as well. And I think that's the biggest thing. There are a lot of really amazing people working in the industry that are just doing their hardest to either bring their dream to life or just to make ends meet and bring home money for their family. So I think that's the thing. There are a lot of really amazing people that work in these industries, and right now especially are really struggling because of how hard it is to work in various facets of entertainment.
That's amazing. Now, so we've got, of course, the trivia coming up, and I know all of the players are super excited about that. Actually, let me check the chat real quick because I'm sure there's other
I have to
questions.
laugh at JD Smith. Yes, JD Smith. It is funny to think of a darker concept of polygamist who slurps blood, but they do it. They are successful. I promise you.
Um, he also asked, how does fan base approach sensitive content? If a creator has a story or concept that could offend some people, how does fan base handle that?
That's a really good question. I'm trying to think of something that might be offensive that we've covered. I don't know that we veered too much into a territory that would be offensive. I think more often than not, our path is one that brings in sensitivity readers. We try to bring in at least two, and we've done that on a few projects because of the sensitivity of we understand that there is a dearth of representation for some marginalized creators and some marginalized groups, and we want to be sensitive to how they're represented. And because there are so few stories like that, there can be a feeling, understandably, of wanting that character or wanting that story to represent everybody. And as we know, that's just humanly impossible. Everybody
Yeah.
has different lived experiences. Everybody, even within one community, has a different experience. And so we try to bring on at least two sensitivity readers just to get that diversity of experiences to make sure that we're representing things correctly, accurately, based on, whatever lived experience that might be.
It's so funny because I was literally just about to ask you about sensitivity readers. So I'm glad that you got to that. And it's funny because I've had to work with sensitivity readers myself, and you still are going to get some flack sometimes from people. And all you can do is say, I understand. And it's really interesting that you have this vision, this take on yourself and on what's going on around you. But, that just wasn't what we had been able to see, sadly, but now I know of other takes on it, which is like kind of all you can do.
Absolutely. Sometimes you can just listen. Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly it. So, like I said, we do have trivia coming up, and I believe you actually brought a pretty cool prize pack for everybody. Well,
I do.
sorry, for the winner.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got two books which I can give away however you would prefer. We
Okay.
can do that together or two separate giveaways. But I thought since we're talking about ripple effects and the Kickstarter, which I'm happy to talk about more, the Kickstarter itself if you'd like, but I brought our other two award-winning superhero books. So Four Color Heroes is one, and then the other is Kinsei. So both are available for giveaway.
Dude, that's amazing. I think, you know what? I think we're going to see how many players we get. And if we hit a certain number, then I'll do a first and second. And if not, then first gets everything.
That sounds great.
Perfect. Thank you so much for coming on. We're
Yeah.
going to take a quick break. And then right after, you and I can come back. We can do some trivia and we can continue to chat about ripple effects because I have some questions. I like to base my questions around, at least partially around around your books. So that'll give us more chance to talk about ripple effects.
Excellent.
Awesome. All right, guys, we'll be right back with, of course, the trivia, the awesome treats, and more Barbara Dillon right after this.
We know you probably get a lot of emails, but could you please make sure to sign up for our mailing list? We don't send a lot of emails, and we try not to bother you. We just want to give you the best information about all the cool stuff that's going on around here. Sign up on our website, theexplive.com.
Symphonic verses, Nocturne's romance. A song of romanticized darkness, dreaming death by sleep.
Whoa. Whoa. Did you miss it? Yeah, they can go by pretty fast. Let's slow down the footage.
Welcome. It's time to skim some comics. Miles Morales Spider-Man, I will just tell you that Miles is very important in his role as a vampire. So
It's fine. If you like Hercules, read it. If you don't like it, don't worry about it. It's fine.
The art is still stunning. There's a panel, little spoiler, there's a panel in this where Chitauri first hits Lion-O, and he is the best "did she really just hit me" face I've ever seen put in a comic book.
Wow, live reviews of new comic books so you can be ready for New Comic Book Day. What is this? Oh, I see. It's Minute to Skim It. Part of the experience.
You'll make this rather snappy, won't you? I have some very heavy thinking to do before 10 o'clock.
All right, everyone. So good to see you again. And Barbara, thank you so much for sticking around. So now what we do is we hold a trivia game. We have 10 questions approximately, depending on how we get to it. The first person to give us the correct answer gets 3 points. Second one gets 2. Everybody else gets a point. And then the person with the most points at the very end wins. We ask you guys, as usual, no Googling. We will give you tips, or we will give you like teases and try to help you with hints and such. So regardless, we'll make sure that you find an answer. And if not, then we'll just move on to the next one. So yeah, no point. It's as fun as possible. And of course, while you're Googling, someone else could very easily be giving the answers. So do not waste your time. All right. Are you ready, Barbara?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
And you know what? You can feel free to answer the questions because, of course, you don't know them. And so you're either giving them a hint or maybe a red herring because you have it wrong.
Ooh, I love it. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So here we go. Question 1. What percentage of the world is considered neurodivergent? I had to look this one up myself, which I would say that's actually my favorite part of this show is being able to do the research for questions and just finding out so much interesting stuff. I love trivia, so yeah.
That's fantastic.
JD says 43%, lower than that, believe it or not. What do we got? 43%. Leonard said 30. Make 2 said 38. 100% of me and my friend group. Yes. 2%, definitely higher than 2. 27 so far is the closest. I have a range that I was given. And if you get inside that range, guys, I will give stuff to you. So we do have a 3-pointer. Kenrick, good job, buddy. Kenrick is getting the 3 points because he got right in there. It's like a 5% jump. So 5 is too low. 25 is a little too high. Obviously 29 as well. I just need one more person. And, it looks like that's going to be Ilyana. So Ilyana's going to get the 2. And then I'll make sure that everybody else gets a point. I just got to scroll through. Space Case gets their point. Easy Reader. Yep. Lewis. Of course, Lewis. Okay, you know what? We have more than enough players. Wow. So I think what we'll do is first place will get their pick of the 2 books, and second place will get the other one left over.
That
Nice.
sounds great.
Did you know that one, or did you have an idea?
I thought that I had read somewhere that it was 12%, if I remember correctly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I could
That's
be wrong.
possible. Your research totally could be better than mine. Do I get bonus points if I'm neurodivergent? I think if I had to give bonus points to everyone who is neurodivergent, I'd give most of us an extra point. What? Okay, this one is just a fun one. What is the name of SpongeBob's pet snail? Do you happen to know this one, Barbara?
I don't.
You're
No,
you're not a SpongeBob fan?
I am not. My girls aren't watching that yet, but Tiny Chef has a pet snail. If you wanted to know the name of that.
Oh, okay. There we go. And I think we already got one right. Yep, we do. Ilyana is going to get the 3 points for that one. 1, 2, 3. And Lewis is going to get the 2. And then I'll make sure that everyone else gets a point. It is indeed Gary. Gary the Snail. Perfect name. How old are your girls, by the way, if you don't mind my asking?
They're 3.5.
Oh, you have twins.
Twins, yes.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That is awesome. All right. Question 2. This one might be a tough one, guys, but we'll see. What dimension are Rick and Morty originally from? Are you a Rick and Morty fan at all?
I have neither watched nor read any.
Yeah.
Rick and Morty, sadly, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't. It can definitely be. It's one where you either think one way or the other about it. Usually.
Yeah, I've come to understand there's a very rabid fan base. So
there is. I enjoy the show a lot, and I think there's some really interesting aspects to it. But there's definitely, and we do have a correct answer. Nice job, Kenrick. And I like to say their names so that way everyone can just go back through and be like, wait, who is that? There we go. Make 2. Got the 2 points. Good job, everybody. And now I make sure that everyone else gets their point. Okay, and Lewis. Cool. Yep. It is C137. And yeah, see, once I said Kenrick, all of a sudden everyone was putting C137. Good job, gang. This one might be one that you're able to get. In what movie did James Earl Jones play an author named Terrence Mann from the 1960s?
Terrence Mann. Oh my gosh.
So this movie, we like to, if someone, a celebrity or someone of some importance passes away, we love to do some trivia questions on them. Give them another spotlight and stuff. So, we just never got enough James Earl Jones questions. So we had to throw another one in there.
I think folks have got it, but if folks have not watched, there's a recording, I think on PBS, of James Earl Jones in the Broadway version of Fences, which is so darn good. So if you are interested, watch it. It's amazing.
That sounds really good. Space Case got the 3 points and Kenrick got the 2. Because yes, folks, it is indeed Field of Dreams. Amazing. Have you ever seen Field of Dreams?
A long time ago. It's been a while.
Ooh, definitely a good movie to come back to. Very feel good, heartwarming movie. even if you don't like baseball, which I'm not a huge baseball guy, but it's an excellent movie.
Yeah.
Which member of the Jackson 5 recently passed away at the age of 70?
Mm.
And I feel like because there's so many, I'm gonna have to give some kind of clue. So he shares his name with, well, that's he helps a little bit, not much. But he shares his name with a brand of vodka from Texas.
Ooh, I think folks have got it. I'm seeing some good choices there in the comments.
Yeah, and it looks like they do. So who gets it first? Leonard gets it first because he found Tito first. 1, 2, 3, and then right behind him was Easy Reader. Geez, guys, we've got a really tight game happening today. Wow. Okay. Cool. Oh no, and that's one extra. Okay, cool. Yes, Tito. And I love that you guys jumped on that even before I had to give any kind of a clue. I'm gonna do one more, and then we will go to another break. What do we got here? Question 6. What 3 Universal monster movies are due to be released in 2025?
Ooh,
The main,
pretty excited about some of the ones coming out.
right?
Yeah.
And I didn't know this, that they were all Easy Reader. Your answers are, in fact, you've actually won some. But so the thing, Easy Reader, that we have to remind people a lot is that like you're not necessarily seeing the other people who have done it, but Easy Reader, you're actually like, yeah, you're like in the mix very much. So your answers are showing up for sure. His name starts with an L or a T, maybe a V. Okay. That was one of the answers I got.
I'm seeing some good responses there.
The Wolfman, the Creature from the Black Lagoon, and Bride of Frankenstein. So you've got 2 of them. Dracula, Frankenstein, and Wolfman. No. Wolfman, Mummy, and Dracula. Okay. Dracula, Frankenstein, and Wolfman. I mean, here's the sad thing. You guys have them all. Just no one has gotten all 3, but I'll find the first 2 who have gotten 2 right. So,
Yes.
what are they? Wolfman. Okay, so JD, I'm going to give JD the 3 points because he got 2 of them. He got the Wolfman and the Bride of Frankenstein. And then I'll give Professor Nerdly, who just showed up, I'll give them the 2 points. It was the Wolfman, Frankenstein, and the Bride of Frankenstein.
So excited about all of them.
Yeah? Do you have one of those that you're especially fond of?
Honestly, I'm really excited about the Nosferatu film that's coming out. I'm
Ooh,
really excited about that one.
They're doing that again?
Yes. It's Willem Dafoe ? I think that's right.
So, I know, didn't Willem Dafoe, he did like a remake of Nosferatu way back when.
Yes.
And it was not, sorry, it wasn't a remake of Nosferatu. It was actually like a movie based on the making of Nosferatu.
Exactly. And that was phenomenal. But yes, he's going to, now he's not playing the creature in this new one. He's in it as well, but it looks fantastic. I've seen the trailer a few times.
That's so cool. I haven't been able to see the original yet, but I really want to. I love it. Eddie says, The Bride is my favorite too.
Yes.
Defoe was in Shadow of, yeah, that's right. Shadow of the Vampire. That's right. So good.
Yes, and it
Such a
holds
good
up. I
movie.
just watched it. I want to say a year or 2 ago, and it's so good. Yeah,
The original or Shadow?
Shadow. Yeah.
That's cool. That's awesome. All right, gang. We're going to be right back. We're going to talk a little bit more about Ripple Effect. And of course, we're going to be back with that awesome prize. So we will see you in just a moment.
Did you know that Arthur, King of the Britons in Monty Python and the Holy Grail was played by a famous Graham? Check out another famous Graham by following our Instagram.
Boring old Tuesday. Kick it!
Anyway, let's get to it.
Henri Copen scours collections and comic shops to bring you the biggest deals on beautiful
I'm
comics.
very eager to sell these books.
Plus, he smashes those other boring sales shows. Henri's got fire, excitement, personality, key books, FOMO books,
Pixie! Momo books for you.
a cute dog, weird accents,
69, bro!
a wheel of skid bark.
We do wheel spins at the end of every show.
You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll score huge bargains.
That is Hawk 2 of magic right there, all right?
Kicking it with Henri, Tuesday nights, part of the experience. Ask your local comic shop to add Battle Quest comics to your pull list today.
You make this rather snappy, won't you? I have some very heavy thinking to do before 10 o'clock.
And we are back hanging out with Barbara Dillon from Fanbase Press, which I finally said correctly on my first go. And of course, we're talking about Ripple Effects, which is on Kickstarter right now. And guys, you know what I always say, and I didn't say it earlier, so I'm going to say it now. These amazing guests of ours, they come on, they bring amazing prizes for you. And all I ask is that you guys go out there, you check it out. If you think it's something you would enjoy, please pick it up or share it with someone who would like it. At the very least, like I said, share it on your socials, show it off, because those eyes help so much. So if you guys could do that, that would mean the world to me, and I'm assuming for Barbara as well.
Absolutely. Very much appreciated. Anything you can do.
We can totally do that. Yeah, if you're able to throw that, that's Make Two's answer for everything, 1970. And he put up the Kickstarter. You're awesome. Thank you so much, JD. Other JD. Question 8. Let's keep on going. Ripple Effects follows the adventures of a superhero whose invincibility is offset by an acute case of what invisible condition?
I know that one.
I know you know that one.
I get that reference. I know that.
When you first got the book, what was your reaction when you're reading this for the first time?
Oh, I loved it. I mean, I think I got teary even from the treatment itself. The script wasn't even 100% done. And it really hit home and was very authentic and genuine in its storytelling.
That's awesome to hear. And you know what? I'm so glad that everyone was listening, because everybody was jumping in with the right answer. So good job, gang. Really glad to hear it. The last thing we need is for you guys to have no idea. Like, come on. Yes, that's correct. Diabetes. And in fact, Ileana did get it correct right away. It's type 1. Not censored nipple disease. That's a completely separate one. and definitely one that would have to be dealt with on YouTube here an awful lot, I'm sure. Question 7. About 10% of people have. Oh, I did 8. Oh, I did them backwards. That's fine. About 10% of people have an invisible disability. What percentage of people with chronic medical conditions have an invisible condition? And I will let you guys know right away, it is a high number. It is not a low percentage, sadly. So yeah, again, about 10% of people have an invisible disability. What percentage of people with chronic medical conditions have an invisible condition? And let's see what you guys are saying. Lewis put 100. Lewis, you're pretty close. I might, if we don't get someone closer soon, I might just give you the points because you're within 5. But not 43. And you okay? So you know what? I'm gonna give the 3 points to Lewis and the 2 to make 2. So Lewis said 100, which is not correct, but make 2 said 94, which is very freaking close. It is, in fact, 96%. Yeah, 96% of people with chronic medical conditions also have an invisible one, which is nuts to think about. So I'm going to make sure make 2 got their points, and then I'll make sure that everybody else gets theirs. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. Okay, cool. All right, excellent. And I can definitely do at least one more. Here we go. Question 9. The Death of Captain Marvel was written and drawn by Jim Starlin as a way of coping with what? Did you ever read the Death of Captain Marvel? Or Marvel?
I did not.
That was a tough one. It was a tough one to read and whatnot, but you can really tell that Jim put a lot of himself into it. It was very poignant.
Absolutely.
He says, my chronic medical condition is the Invisible Man. He keeps moving the stuff in my apartment around. So make 2 jumped in first, and Leonard said divorce. That one hits close to home, but nobody. That's not it. And Ileana right behind. That's correct, guys. It is cancer. His dad passed away of cancer, just like Captain Marvel. So yeah, that was his way of doing that, which I really like. Anytime a creator is able to do that, I remember when Captain America died, they went through the stages of grief through the Avengers and people who knew him, and it was amazing. It was just so well done, and it was done. My gosh, why can I not remember who did it? His son had just passed away a couple years before, though, and so it was it was just so well done, and it was very helpful for anyone. I own it and I read it any chance I get, just to kind of help out and as a reminder,
Absolutely.
All right, I'm just gonna make sure we got more points going on here for everybody. Okay, and erase that one. Okay, cool. And I'm gonna do one last one, and then we're gonna have to be done. Question 10. Green Arrow kicked Speedy out, forcing him to move in with Black Canary when it was discovered that Speedy had what condition? And I'm not sure necessarily it's a condition, but it's something. So, and I'm sure you guys are going to jump on it. I love the 2 pages that show all the Marvel heroes climbing the stairs to see Captain Marvel in that book. Yeah, that was an amazing one. Space Case jumps out right away. They knew. Yeah, it was Jeff Loeb. That's right. Thank you, JD. You rock. Yes, Space Case gets the 3 points. 1, 2, 3. And JD gets the 2. 1, 2. And then, of course, kleptomania. No, it was, in fact, heroin addiction, which that was a tough one to watch and to read. Okay, guys, I'm going to quickly go over this and find out who our winners are. Barbara, do you mind give us one more pitch for Ripple Effect while I do the counts?
Absolutely. So I'll tell you that the Kickstarter is for an expanded edition hardcover. So we're adding so much extra material to Ripple Effects, which already came out. So Gail Simone is writing one of the forewords to the book, which I'm sure folks are familiar with Gail Simone. Todd Stashwick from Star Trek Picard is writing another foreword. John Jennings from Silver Surfer is writing an afterword, but we're adding study guides. And most importantly, we're adding an art gallery by kiddos who have invisible disabilities and illnesses, drawing themselves as superheroes. And then we're bringing in professional artists like Drew Zucker from Canto, Liana Kangas, Ray Anthony Height, and they're doing fully realized renderings of the kiddos' artwork. And we actually auctioned all of that artwork off already and donated it all to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. So, but lots of really amazing extras that are being added to this hardcover.
That's amazing. And like I said, everybody, please go check it out. Share it off on your socials. So here's a funny thing. We don't have a first and second place winner today. We actually just have 2 first places. They tied.
Fantastic.
So yeah, even perfect. So we'll make sure if either of you guys have either of these 2 books, let us know. But our winners tonight are Ileana and Kenrick. Congratulations, gang. You guys have won. If you have either one of the books, our books today are
Kinsey and Color Heroes.
Okay, so if there is one that you guys would prefer, let me know, and I will definitely let Barbara know. And but yeah, congratulations to all of our winners. Again, thank you so much, Barbara, for coming out and talking to us all about Ripple Effect and Fanbase Press. I really would love to have you back on the show again. That was so much fun.
Excellent. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm happy to do it. More than happy. What are we saying? Okay, so we'll figure out who gets what. But yeah, I'll make that happen. And again, everyone, thank you guys so much for coming out. I appreciate the EXP from my our awesome producer JD, and of course our amazing guest here, Barbara Dillon. Thank you again so much for coming out.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks, everybody.
Everyone, my name is Chuck. So glad to see all of you guys, and I will see you again next week on Triple T. Have a good one.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.